In a world where ancient legends twist into nightmares, three spine-chilling tales of Anansi the Spider await. Enter a realm where a trickster weaves a dark web of terror and no one escapes unscathed. Get ready to face fear like never before. In a small village nestled by an old forest, people whispered of a cursed legend. They spoke of Anansi the Spider, a trickster once known for his clever stories, now a dark force with a terrible hunger for sorrow. In this village, a young man named Tai decided to uncover the truth. Tai was brave and curious, but he did not know that some secrets were meant to remain hidden. Tai set out one cold evening when the sky was gray and heavy with clouds. The wind did not carry laughter that night, only a silence that made his heart beat fast. He walked slowly through the narrow lanes of the village, following old clues that led to the forest edge. The trees stood tall and close, like silent watchers of an ancient secret. Deep in the forest, Tai found a clearing where the ground was covered with tangled vines and broken branches. In the center, a large, dark web stretched between two gnarled trees. At the heart of the web was a figure, half human and half spider. This was Anansi the Spider. His eyes were deep and full of cunning, and his many legs moved slowly as he tended to his dark web. Tai watched from behind a tree. He felt both fear and curiosity as he remembered the old stories. In these tales, Anansi was once a clever storyteller who helped people, but his pride led him astray. Now he used his web to trap souls and twist fate. Tai took a deep breath and stepped into the clearing. He hoped to learn the truth behind the legend. Anansi's eyes met Tai's with a cold, eerie light. The creature did not speak with words, but his gaze said it all. Tai felt a chill run down his back as Anansi slowly raised a hand with long, spindly fingers. Then, the spider-like figure began to spin his web faster. The threads glimmered in the dim light, each strand weaving a tale of sorrow and despair. Tai tried to speak, but his voice was lost in the quiet night. The creature extended his web toward him, as if inviting him to step closer. Tai's heart pounded as he realized that there was no turning back. With a final look of dread, he reached out. In that moment, the web captured him in its sticky embrace. Trapped in the dark fibers, Tai struggled, but Anansi's power was too strong. The creature's many eyes watched him with a mix of amusement and pity. The web began to pulse like a living thing, each pulse echoing with the pain of those who had come before. Tai's pleas for help were swallowed by the endless darkness of the forest. As time passed, Tai lost his hope. His face grew pale, and his voice became a whisper. Anansi moved slowly around him, tightening the web with every step. In the cold grip of the trap, Tai felt his will crumble. There was no escape from the dark web of Anansi the Spider. The trickster's hunger for despair was endless, and Tai's fate was sealed as another lost soul caught in his cursed creation. The forest returned to its silence, and the dark web shimmered softly in the faint light. Tai was gone, his spirit now part of the many that Anansi had collected over the years. The legend of the cursed trickster grew, a reminder to all that some secrets in the old forest are best left undisturbed. In a quiet town near an ancient swamp, the legend of Anansi the Spider was told in hushed voices. It was said that long ago, Anansi was a clever being who spun wondrous stories for the people. But greed and pride changed him, twisting him into a creature of darkness. Now, he wandered the swamp, trapping those who sought his wisdom in a net of lies and despair. In this town, a young woman named Amma had heard the stories all her life. Amma was curious and strong-willed, yet her heart was touched by a quiet longing to know the truth about the legends. One misty night, when the moon was hidden behind thick clouds, Amma decided to follow a trail that led to the swamp. The path was narrow, and the air felt heavy with foreboding. The swamp was dark and full of fog. The trees around the water were bent and twisted, their branches looking like skeletal arms. As Amma walked carefully along the muddy path, she saw a faint light ahead. The glow came from a clearing in the swamp, where a great web was stretched between ancient cypress trees. In the center of the web stood Anansi the Spider. Amma froze in fear as she saw the creature. He looked different from the old tales. His eyes shone with a cruel glimmer, and his many legs moved with slow determination. The swamp was filled with the sound of gentle dripping water, yet the silence carried a weight of sorrow. Anansi turned his gaze toward Amma, his eyes locking onto hers with a knowing look. Without a word, Anansi began to weave his web once more. The threads shimmered with a dark energy, and the web spread out like a trap. Amma tried to step back, but her feet felt stuck in the muddy ground. The trickster's web began to move as if it were alive. It reached out with sticky threads, wrapping around her ankles and slowly pulling her closer. Amma's heart raced, and she struggled to break free. However, the more she fought, the tighter the web wound around her. Anansi watched with an unreadable expression, his face a mask of ancient cruelty. In the depths of the swamp, the dark presence of the trickster grew stronger. Amma's resistance faded as the web drew her nearer. In the final moments, as the sticky threads held her completely captive, Amma realized that there was no escape. The legend of Anansi had claimed another life, leaving her trapped in a nightmare with no hope of rescue. The swamp swallowed her cries, and her struggle ended in silence. Anansi continued to weave his cursed web, his dark appetite satisfied for now, yet always hungry for more. The swamp returned to its eerie stillness, and the tale of the lurking trickster passed into the night. The legend remained, a grim reminder that curiosity can lead to a fate worse than despair. In a forgotten village near a dark, twisting forest, a story of old terror resurfaced. The people whispered of Anansi the spider, a being born from trickery and twisted magic. He was once known for spinning clever tales, but now his web was a symbol of doom, catching the unwary in a trap from which there was no escape. A young man named Kofi, known for his stubbornness and daring spirit, decided one night to search for the truth. He had grown up hearing the haunting legend of Anansi and felt drawn to uncover its secrets. With a heart full of determination, Kofi walked into the forest under a sky heavy with clouds. The forest was thick and dark, and every step was a battle against fear. Kofi soon came upon a clearing where the ground was blanketed in thick, sticky webs. In the center of the clearing stood a towering figure that was half man, half spider. This was Anansi, the spider. His many eyes glinted with a harsh light as he looked at Kofi, with an expression that mixed mockery and malice. Kofi's breath caught in his throat, but he pressed on, determined to face the legendary creature. Anansi slowly began to weave a new web that glowed faintly in the dim light. The threads spread out in all directions, forming a maze of silver strands that sparkled like a trap. Kofi tried to step around them, but each movement brought him closer to the intricate network of sticky threads. He realized too late that the forest itself was designed to trap him. The trickster spoke in a voice that was both soft and sinister, though his words were few. He did not promise escape or redemption. He only offered a fate woven with suffering. Kofi tried to run, but the web clung to his legs, slowing him down. Panic rose in his chest as he struggled, but the more he fought, the tighter the web wound around him. In the heart of the forest, Kofi found himself surrounded by the dark artistry of Anansi's weaving. The spider-like figure moved among the threads with a slow, deliberate grace, each step measured and full of hidden malice. Kofi's eyes filled with tears as he realized his fate was sealed. His voice was lost in the cold air as the web tightened around him, snaring him completely. In that final, endless moment, Kofi's hope faded like the dim light of the forest. There was no brave escape, no grand battle against the darkness, only the cold truth of his destiny. Anansi's web had claimed him, and the once daring young man became just another thread in the cursed tapestry of the trickster's design. The forest grew silent once more, and the dark legend of Anansi the spider continued to spin its tale. Kofi was gone, leaving behind only a story of fear and despair, a warning that some paths lead to a fate with no light at the end. The trickster's hunger for sorrow was never quenched, and his web lay waiting for the next unwary soul. As the night deepens and the shadows stretch long, the grim fate of those caught in Anansi's web reminds us that not every story ends with hope. 3 dark tales of a twisted trickster echo through the ages. Thank you for joining this journey into a realm of terror, where cleverness turns to curse and despair weaves its dark tapestry. Stay vigilant, for in every dark corner, a tale of horror awaits.